China. Scorched and submerged. Beijing faces historic flood disaster as climate crisis escalates. An unprecedented infrastructure catastrophe has struck China's capital following relentless rainfall that culminated in the collapse of a major dam. This catastrophic event, driven by the remnants of Typhoon Danas, coupled with concentrated monsoonal flows, plunged Beijing into a full-scale emergency. The torrential floods swept through the city's districts, overwhelming roads, stalling public transit, and triggering mass evacuations across the metropolis. Within just a few hours, essential services began to fall apart under the immense water pressure, throwing one of the most densely populated urban centers into paralysis and revealing serious vulnerabilities in Beijing's flood resilience systems. In Chaoyang district alone, hourly precipitation peaked at 68.2 mm, an alarming figure by any standard, prompting authorities to activate the blue alert for rainstorms early in the day. Multiple urban districts experienced similar levels of rainfall, transforming entire neighborhoods into submerged zones. Despite recent urban modifications under the Sponge City initiative, which aimed to improve drainage and runoff control, Beijing's infrastructure buckled under the volume. Water overflowed drainage channels, storm sewers failed to cope, and the city's primary roads became turbulent rivers within minutes. Residential compounds were inundated and entire blocks were left inaccessible. In response, municipal authorities issued mandatory evacuations for communities in low-lying areas and neighborhoods situated near slopes vulnerable to landslides. Rescue crews, including firefighters, healthcare personnel, and transit responders, were rapidly deployed to assist residents clear debris-laden streets and mitigate the risk of secondary disasters, such as mudslides or sinkholes. Citizens were strongly advised to avoid traversing flooded zones, especially underground walkways or submerged highways, as visibility and structural safety could not be guaranteed. Warnings emphasized not to underestimate the risks posed by flash flooding and concealed hazards beneath murky waters. The deluge crippled Beijing's transportation system. Major sections of the subway network were suspended due to inundation. Airport operations suffered delays. More than 10,000 people were officially evacuated from Beijing's hardest-hit zones, with thousands more displaced in surrounding provinces. This event laid bare the sobering reality: even cities with significant resources and modern infrastructure are far from immune to the chaos wrought by severe climate-driven weather. The storm's impact was not limited to the capital. Widespread effects were felt across central and southwestern China, with catastrophic hydrological events unfolding in provinces like Guizhou and Sichuan. Over 25 rivers surged past danger levels, with multiple waterways breaking century-old records. In Guizhou, the Qishui River rose to its highest level since 1953. In Sichuan, the Xiaojia River swelled to a peak not seen in nearly 3 decades. As of the latest reports, over 80,000 individuals have been relocated due to escalating threats of overflowing rivers, strain on aged dams, and potential breaches in levee systems. Government media outlets issued cautionary bulletins forecasting ongoing risk as rainfall continues to saturate vulnerable regions. Hydrologists cited a confluence of factors: residual typhoon energy, persistent monsoonal moisture, and a warming atmosphere as key drivers of the crisis. Meteorological agencies warned that convergence zones, where humid tropical air feeds directly into inland weather systems, are becoming more intense and frequent. In this case, such dynamics created a perfect storm over an already heat-exhausted region. The heavy rainfall followed closely behind a severe heat wave, further stretching emergency resources and exhausting infrastructure response teams. Public health departments quickly moved to issue additional advisories. Residents were urged to boil drinking water, avoid any direct exposure to floodwaters, and immediately report signs of illness. There were growing fears over contamination risks and potential outbreaks of waterborne diseases. With high humidity and soaring temperatures trailing the rainstorm, health experts anticipated a spike in bacterial infections and gastrointestinal illnesses. The Beijing Center for Disease Control recommended continued vigilance, particularly in temporary shelters or densely packed residential areas. The extended forecast showed continued rainfall through July 13th, prompting citywide emergency preparedness to remain at peak status. Officials warned that outer suburbs and rural hillsides were at heightened risk for renewed flash flooding and landslides. Citizens were advised to closely follow updates issued by the Beijing Meteorological Bureau and local broadcast alerts. City authorities pledged to maintain round-the-clock rescue operations and deliver timely updates as conditions evolved. The floods in Beijing represent only one facet of a broader climate disaster gripping much of China this summer. From Guangzhou to Chongqing, cities brace for further downpours. Experts stress that this event underscores the urgent need for urban centers to reevaluate and fortify their resilience strategies against intensifying climate extremes. As Beijing contends with one of its most severe urban flood crises in recent history, the stark visuals of submerged cars, fractured dams, and entire families displaced from their homes highlight an unsettling truth. Even global capitals are not immune to the destructive force of climate instability. In Hunan, the summer heat is so ferocious that sitting down feels like your skin is fused to the chair, startling you to your feet. Indoors, it's an oven. Everything's too hot to grasp, as if the world is liquefying in a fiery haze. Even ropes seem to sag in the blaze. This is Hunan's scorching reality. Look at this fan roasting under the unforgiving sun. Its metal frame is so blistering, it's nearly useless, blowing only warm air. Since July began, the unyielding heat has been oppressive. Many women are humiliated as their makeup melts off the second they step outside, not from low quality, but because the heat turns it to liquid. Can you feel Hunan's fiery embrace? Pause for a moment, and it'll hit you. After a brief morning sprint, I'm drenched in sweat, consumed by the sweltering air. It's beyond belief. Hunan, you've dialed the heat to intolerable. In the Northeast, our saunas peak at 40 degrees. Last week, I told my mom I'm sticking it out here this summer to hustle stack some cash and hit the books hard. I'll make it on my own. Now I'm full of regret. I'm itching to bolt back to the Northeast. Hunan's heat is unbearable. My phone might catch fire if I keep filming. Wuhan, a notorious furnace city, has seen temperatures exceed 40 degrees since summer's start, breaking a 50-year heat record for this period. Even birds are collapsing. On July 4th, a netizen shared a photo of a red-bellied hawk mistaken for a pigeon, nearly lifeless from heat stroke. After offering water, they wrote, "This heat is so brutal, even birds are dropping." The post went viral on Xiaohongshu. Per Morning Post, heat stroke cases are surging. Wuhan's Occupational Disease Prevention Institute reported 155 people sought heat stroke treatment this year, with 5 deaths, the first heat-related fatalities in 3 years. A Xinjiang man, expecting milder weather in Wuhan, said, "I thought it'd be around 30 degrees C. But this heat is choking me." The China Meteorological Administration warned that Anhui, Hubei, and Hunan may see temperatures above 40 degrees C. This year's heat wave arrived early, with the 3 hottest weeks mid-July to late August already underway. Outdoor workers, construction crews, delivery drivers, sanitation workers are hit hard with frequent heat stroke. Videos show workers drenched in sweat, toiling in brutal heat. A Changsha, Hunan construction worker collapsed and convulsed after working in the blaze, diagnosed with severe heat stroke and rushed to the hospital. In Huangpu, Guangzhou, a worker suffered full-body convulsions with undetectable blood pressure, barely saved by emergency care. Supermarket workers are struggling too. On July 6th, a Shanghai sorter posted a video venting about unbearable heat without air conditioning. "It's scorching, and people are dropping like flies," she said. The video gained traction, but the next day she revealed 3 supervisors pressured her to quit after her complaint. Netizens fumed. They expect us to work like machines, but won't even provide a fan. Employers are bleeding the masses dry. Others said factory conditions have always been this harsh. On July 5th in Yantai, Shandong, the heat was agonizing. A university dormitory lacking air conditioning and equipped only with a weak ceiling fan left students sweltering. Some collapsed and were rushed away by ambulances. One student said, "I take a cold shower to cool down, but 20 minutes later, I'm soaked in sweat again. I couldn't sleep until after 2 a.m., and by 6 a.m., the heat dragged me awake." Many sought refuge in the school supermarket's air conditioning, but with dorms locked at night, they could only stay until after 9 p.m. A Shandong delivery driver shared, "Delivering food at midday feels like I'm being barbecued. My helmet's filled with sweat and my clothes stay drenched." In Weihai, Shandong, temperatures hit 40 degrees on July 5th during the 2025 New Youth Music Festival, where several attendees fainted from heat stroke and were carried off by ambulances. Medics in white uniforms helped, but despite cooling measures like fog cannons, the heat remained relentless. Firefighters sprayed water on the crowd to ease the suffering. In response, Shandong Foreign Language Vocational Technical College canceled final exams and urged students to leave campus planning makeup tests later. Hunan faces similar torment with temperatures above 37 degrees C for days feeling like 45 degrees or higher due to rare humid heat blanketing the province. This prolonged, widespread heat wave with some towns exceeding 40 degrees C and peaking at 43 degrees is the longest since records began in 1961. On July 4th, a Hunan road split open with a booming crack captured on a dashcam. The overheated asphalt writhed like a coiled serpent, scattering stones as cracks spread. This isn't a movie, it's the heat wave's raw devastation. The relentless 40 degrees C heat has turned Hunan into a giant sizzling skillet. Experts explain that when road surfaces surpass 60 degrees, asphalt expands trapping pressure until it erupts. This thermal damage is widespread in hot regions. While these road ruptures seem like a summer issue, they set a deadly trap for winter as rainwater in cracks freezes and expands, causing severe freeze-thaw damage. Experts warn that unpatched cracks could lead to road collapse in winter. Hunan's government is urging employers to improve workplaces with ventilation, insulation, and cooling systems. During extreme weather like heavy rain or storms, flexible options like remote work are encouraged and weather-related absences won't affect attendance records. Hunan isn't alone. Hubei is also scorching with temperatures hitting 43 degrees C. In some areas, the ground feels like it could ignite, turning the outdoors into a massive furnace. In Hubei, the summer heat is so extreme, it's as if a fire god unleashed havoc with temperatures above 37 degrees C. Stepping outside feels like a scorching blast to the face. The sun stalks you relentlessly, and working in this heat torches your patience. Women in Hubei step out like veiled guardians, likely shielding their skin from burning. It's like a tropical inferno, but it's just pure roasting. Are we being grilled alive? A Qingdao woman returned from a 2-day trip to find her eggs had hatched into chicks. We left 3 cartons of eggs at home when we headed to our village thinking they'd go bad. But with temperatures over 40 degrees, we came back to see about 70 of the 90 eggs had turned into chicks, she shared. Most were sent to their village for raising with a few kept for the kids to play with. In Changi, Shandong, someone recorded chicks hatching during transport, the intense heat accelerating the process with some breaking free mid-journey. In Tai'an, Shandong, a truck carrying over 190 pigs saw all the animals faint from heat stroke due to soaring ground temperatures. Firefighters rushed in, spraying high-pressure water to cool the truck, saving the pigs and the farmers' livelihood. The heat in Nanning is so brutal, it's scrambling my brain. Yesterday, while cleaning shrimp, one got away. Today, a foul smell haunted the kitchen. You won't believe this. It had jumped onto the stove and cooked itself in the heat. I'm not kidding. It was roasted alive. Its head was still raw when it leapt, but the stove finished it. I'm losing my mind. I had to show you this chaos. The kitchen reeked, and I realized a shrimp had baked itself. China is gripped by a savage heat wave with red and orange alerts issued across multiple regions. Shandong and Hunan are hit hardest, locked in steamy, sauna-like conditions. In Jinan, Shandong, temperatures have hovered around 39 degrees C for days, sometimes surpassing 40 degrees C. Ground temperatures exceed 50 degrees C with humidity between 60% and 80%, creating a suffocating heavy atmosphere. Streets throb with oppressive heat, and people scurry like frantic ants, desperate for relief. Muggy heat heightens heatstroke risks compared to dry conditions. On July 2nd, Beijing's downtown humidity soared to 76%, outstripping southern cities like Shenzhen, 66%, sparking online outrage with images of damp subway walls. Beijing's average humidity has lingered near 60%, peaking at 95% on July 1st night, creating a sauna-like haze where breathing feels labored. Sweat clings to skin, raising heatstroke risks. In contrast, early July's lowest humidity was 12.6%, typical of dry heat. Netizens complained Beijing's like a steam bath. Opening the door this morning felt like wading through a swamp. My clothes and hair were soaked. Others reported musty smells in laundry. A Beijing tourist said, "It's swelteringly unbearable, probably 40 degrees C. We didn't expect Beijing's summer to be this brutal. It's one of China's hottest. I'm drowning in sweat in these long pants and dark suit." Across China, the heat persists. Videos show solar-powered streetlights catching fire flames bursting from panels with smoke billowing. One clip showed a streetlight near a residential building igniting, alarming residents. Experts explained that lithium batteries, not panels, are overheating in sealed plastic casings with no ventilation. Manufacturers didn't anticipate such intense heat, and many use cheap recycled batteries from small workshops, creating these blazing time bombs. The prolonged heat is shifting from a seasonal issue to a systemic crisis. In agriculture, scorching heat dries soil, burns crop roots, and threatens harvests, endangering food security and farmers' livelihoods. Manufacturing hubs face surging air conditioning use, power grid strain, and worker heat stroke. Port cities endure equipment breakdowns and slower logistics due to heat and storms. The healthcare system is overwhelmed with heat stroke exhaustion and heart issues surging, especially among the elderly, children, and outdoor workers. Netizens warn that heat waves are worsening yearly, lasting longer with higher temperatures. "We're battling a warming planet," one said. "Stop paving highways, railways, and concrete jungles. Embrace urban greening, or some places might become unlivable." On July 13, 2025, the Epoch Times reported that while the Chinese Communist Party boasts of leading global sales and exports of new energy vehicles, surpassing even Japan, former Chongqing Mayor Huang Qifan revealed a stark truth at the 2025 Beike Finance Conference. The profits from China's 30 million vehicle sales pale in comparison to those of a single company, Toyota. Experts warn that China's auto industry is mired in cutthroat competition, with razor-thin per-vehicle profits, earning only publicity but little financial gain. Low profits. Amid over-competition, at the 2025 Beike Finance Conference on July 10th, Huang Qifan, former Chongqing mayor and executive vice chairman of the Academic Committee of the National Conference for Innovation and Development Strategy, disclosed that China's auto manufacturing sector achieved a mere 5% profit margin as of June this year. The total profit from 30 million vehicles sold was dwarfed by the earnings from Toyota's 9 million vehicle sales. On May 8th, Toyota Motor Corporation released its 2025 fiscal year report, April 2024 to March 2025, projecting a 34.9% drop in net profit to 3.1 trillion yen, approximately 155 billion CNY. Despite this, Toyota's previous fiscal year net profit reached 4.765 trillion yen, about 233.7 billion CNY. According to Deere Auto, among China's 18 listed passenger vehicle companies, 13 reported profits in 2024 totaling 122.67 billion CNY. However, when factoring in the losses of 5 struggling firms, which amounted to 33.2 billion CNY, the net profit of China's listed passenger car companies drops to under 90 billion CNY, less than 40% of Toyota's annual profit. On a per-vehicle basis, Toyota, including Lexus, anticipates global sales of 10.4 million units in 2025, a 1.2% increase from the previous year, with an average profit of about 22,900 CNY per vehicle. In contrast, China's leading automaker BYD earns a mere 9,400 CNY per vehicle. Chinese economist Ren Zeping warned as early as 2024 that China's automakers are all show no profit. In 2023, China became the world's top producer, seller, and exporter of automobiles, with 30.16 million units produced, 30.09 million sold, and 5.22 million exported, surpassing Japan's 4.42 million exports. In the first half of 2024, China's 18 listed automakers collectively earned 48.8 billion CNY in profits, while Toyota alone secured 125.3 billion CNY, Volkswagen 79.5 billion CNY, and General Motors 42.1 billion CNY. Due to intense overcompetition, per-vehicle profits in China are alarmingly low. Li Auto's per-vehicle net profit fell from 30,000 CNY in 2023 to 9,000 CNY in mid-2024. BYD's dropped from 10,000 CNY to 9,800 CNY, while SAIC, Chang'an, BIC, and GIC hover between 2,000 and 3,000 CNY. Many new energy vehicle startups are losing money on every car sold. Liu Qi, a distinguished professor at Southern University of Science and Technology and a foreign member of the Australian Academy, posted on Weibo that China's auto industry suffers from severe overcapacity. In 2023, China produced about 38 million vehicles, accounting for a third of global output, but with only 60% capacity utilization. The combined profits of Chinese automakers are less than half of Toyota's, whose 2023 global net profit neared 30 billion USD. Over 100 Chinese new energy vehicle companies exist in 2024, most operating at a loss, with the industry's overall profit margin below 5%. Leo added that resource waste is rampant. Many auto industrial parks have built factories with low operational rates, idle equipment, and workers left jobless. Government subsidies to boost GDP, coupled with cheap land deals, have driven reckless factory expansions. Yet orders lag, vehicles remain unsold, and inventories pile up, creating little value. Fierce price wars due to overcompetition have obliterated profit margins, leading smaller brands to bankruptcy. In 2023, at least 5 or 6 automakers collapsed, leaving employees jobless and suppliers unpaid. Social issues expert Xia Yifan told the Epoch Times that the plight of the new energy vehicle sector mirrors China's broader economic struggles. Shoddy production, low technological and managerial standards, and high output with minimal profits stem from vicious competition, dimming the industry's prospects. The auto sector's challenges are just the tip of the iceberg in China's economic landscape. If this report helped you grasp the scale of the disaster, please consider liking the video, commenting to express support, and sharing it with others to spread awareness. Every voice matters. Your engagement enables us to reach more people, illuminate urgent issues, and stand with those affected, and with those affected, and with those affected, and with...